Next item, resolution determining trustee position vacant.
I guess I'll make that motion
Okay, motion made by trustee Ramirez-Lewinsky,
for discussion.
we're waiting for a second. Still waiting for a second.
You ought to know you're not going to get one.
It dies.
You already made your speech, and so we don't want to hear it again, to be real honest with you.
So it
You're not going to get a second.
dies for lack of a second. It dies for.
I understand, trustee Sigwalt.
Well, how long are you gonna wait? I'm just asking a question. How long are you gonna wait?
Yeah, well, I'm still waiting for a second. Still waiting for a second.
Attorney Rhodes, is there any time limit on how long you have to wait before a motion dies for lack of a second? Or are we gonna sit here till midnight?
There's no time limit. The board has the right to make a motion as it does in all other instances.
Okay, is there any procedure that we can do to end this?
And the waiting, you mean?
Yes. Yes, end the waiting and move on. I'm glad you think this is funny.
It is.
I don't think it's
Not
funny.
you. Yeah.
He's laughing too.
It's ridiculous is what it
He's
is.
laughing.
It's not funny, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, if the board determines that the time limit for making a motion is done, someone can make a motion to determine that there has been no second and move on to the
Okay.
next item.
I'll make that motion that there has been no second, ample time has been given, and it dies for lack of a second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay?
Can I say something?
No, because there was no second.
They just had a second, so now
Well, they
we
just,
discuss
On a
that.
motion to move forward, not on the original motion.
You can discuss the motion to move forward.
yeah.
Okay, I'll discuss the motion to move forward. I have to say, from all the emails I have received from many, many residents and phone calls I have received from many, many residents, that I am very disappointed in this board. That members of this board have attended many meetings talking about improving our image. And your lack of wanting to discuss this issue shows that you do not care about this community nor our image. As I have said, not only have I received emails and letters from residents in this community, I've received them from across the country. This is not setting a good example to our community. This is not setting a good example to any community. This is not what I want for our community. This is not why I ran for office. This is not the example I want to set for this community. And I'm ashamed of this board because you're saying this is acceptable behavior in our community. And as President Sardo said, you are very much saying this is a sanctuary city for abuse.
You know, I would just add to that, and you know,
Call the question.
we're not calling the question, we're talking about this, this matter here because
Call the question.
He's got a right to call the question.
he's got a right to call the question, but I'm just saying that I also have a right to
No,
respond.
you don't have a right to do what's not legal. This has not been seconded,
What's
which
not
shouldn't be any
legal is what this
discussion.
board does every
There was no
every
second.
2 weeks.
There's
And-
no discussion.
There was a second.
There was a second to can this thing.
And move on.
Not to backdoor
That may have been what
discussion.
your interpretation was of the second, but that's not what the second was.
Really? I did the
Yes.
seconding, and I seconded trustee Sigwald's motion to that.
To move on.
Die for a lack of a second, so we were moving on. So
Yes.
that's what the second was. The
And,
second was
and
not
we're
for
discussing, we're
Well,
discussing
and-
the lack of a second.
We had discussion by trustee Ramirez-Slawinski. We got our lecture. Now, trustee Humfer called the question. He has every right to call the question. And Robert's Rules of Order is when you call the question,
not-
there is no more discussion.
We're not
You call
operating
the
under
vote.
Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh, because it's convenient to you now.
No, because we have our own rules.
Wait. Trustee Sardo is correct. We don't operate under Robert's rules, but
President.
our rules, but our
President Sardo,
rules.
thank you.
I'm sorry, President Sardo. But our rules do indicate that when you call the question, that issue is non-debatable.
Right. It ends
So you
discussion.
do have to, under your rules, call for the vote. The vote is to determine whether or not there's been sufficient debate on the issue of determining that there's been no second.
Thank you for the clarification, Attorney Rhodes. The question's been called.
That's just more of the same stuff. When they don't want to hear what other people have to say.
No
They
debate.
shut
We don't
off
want
the
debate,
debate.
do we,
It's
in
okay
this
when
town?
they do it, and
We
when
don't want
nobody
debate
else
in this
does
town.
it, it's okay.
Only when it suits certain people do we have debate in this town.
The question has been called.
Yeah, the question has been called, all right. The question is, why are you people sitting on this board? That's the question.
The question has been called. We need to take the vote.
No, the question is, why are you people sitting on this board? Who do you represent in this community? That's the question. Who do you represent?
I guess we're sitting on here to make sure you don't ramrod everything you want.
Ramrod?
through the- Yes.
Ramrod?
Absolutely.
Ramrod?
Absolutely.
Trustee Ritter, you are, I hate to say this.
Thank you, Ed.
I really hate to say
Oh,
this.
you won't hate to say it. You'll love saying it. Go ahead,
No,
insult me.
I really hate to say this because you should be a person, especially a school teacher.
Right,
who
all
should
right,
be
call my
who should-
employment into
Who should
question
be
now.
concerned about the standards of this community.
Bill, I've listened to your lectures all
Oh,
night.
yeah, I
We've
know
spent
you've
an
listened to
hour
my
of tonight
lectures.
listening to you
Yeah,
lecture
unfortunately,
us.
nothing ever sinks into any of you people.
I think that we already are waiting for core RONR actions that you requested from the state's attorney's
Yeah,
office.
don't worry, they will happen, believe me. So whether you guys
Well,
want
why
to
are
take
we
care of
being
this,
preemptive
or
of-
somebody else is going to do it, we
The
could
question's been
clean our
called.
own house as we ought to do, but oh no, not this town, not this board, not these people.
If there was a
I hope the
recall
voters out there
ordinance,
are
you'd
watching.
be gone, Bill,
I hope
and
the
that'd be the
voters
end
are
of it.
out there watching this, because they're going to see what kind of representation they have on this board.
If
And
there
This
was
is
a recall,
disgusting.
And President
It
Sardo,
is
you'd be
disgusting.
gone, Bill.
President Sardo,
We're
the
tired
voters,
of you.
President
gone.
Sardo, the voters
I'll take the
also,
96-6 vote every day of the week.
they also know of the double standard where your police report says you threatened to kill your wife, and this is misdemeanor. Now,
I
let's
was not
move on.
charged with anything,
move
Trustee
on.
Sigwalt.
That's all
I was
right.
not
Let's
charged.
move
I was
on.
not charged with
The
anything.
question's been called.
And don't you ever defame me
The
in public.
question's been
unless
called.
you
It's
want
okay
to be,
for you to defame
unless you want
me.
to talk to my attorney.
Oh, please. It's okay for you to defame us, though.
No, I'm not
The
defaming
question
you.
has been called.
You guys are a
The senior
disgrace.
trustee, do I
All
have
of
the
you,
right to
from the
ask the
convict
court-
at the end
Terry.
to the woman whose
Terry.
son had sex with the convict's wife. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a town. What a beautiful place. Yeah, go sit down, folks. Terry, call the roll.
Please, thank you.
Yes.
Trustee Hines?
Yes.
Trustee Sigel?
Yes.
Trustee Ramirez-Lewinsky?
No.
Trustee Ritter?
Yes.
Trustee Teeter?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
It was just on calling the question.
I understand. We didn't have a motion.
Yeah, there was a motion to end. So there's a vote on the motion to end the debate.
Okay, Terry, call the roll
Or on
again.
the, I'm sorry, on the motion to dying for lack of second.
Call the roll again, please.
Trustee Humper?
Yes.
Trustee Hines?
Yes.
Trustee Sigel?
Yes.
Trustee Ramirez-Lewinsky?
No.
Trustee Ritter?
Yes.
Trustee Teeter?
Yes.
President Sardo?
No, and you'll all live and die with that vote, believe me.
We're getting threatened. I'm glad it's on video.
No, it's on the record for the voters to decide.
Okay.